For today's fall-inspired dessert, I'm combining the love of pumpkin pie and pastries. With just 10 ingredients and 10 minutes or less, you can have these in the oven and ready to serve. They can serve as a breakfast pastry, as an on-the-go snack, or as a dessert. Whatever you choose, they're guaranteed to be a highlight of your party. For today's recipe, the ingredients you're going to need is the base, which is the crescent rolls, just the 8-serving container. You're going to need granulated sugar and an 8-ounce block of cream cheese, 2 eggs, powdered sugar, canned pumpkin, which I already have measured out and ready to go. You're going to need milk. I'm using 1%. Anything but skim will work for this. Vanilla extract, pumpkin pie spice, and ground cinnamon. So as you can see, the ingredients list is pretty minimal, and it should be everything that you have in your fridge and pantry, so you don't have to go out and buy it, which always makes it nice. And the first step you're going to do is take the 8-ounce block of cream cheese that's at room temperature and a half a cup of granulated sugar. And you're going to take your electric hand mixer and beat this until it's incorporated. Alright, so I've got the granulated sugar and the cream cheese incorporated. Then I added in the pumpkin, mixed well, and added in each egg one by one, mixing well after each addition. So now here I am. I'm going to be adding a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice to the mixture. If you don't have pumpkin pie spice, there is a recipe for making your own. So you can just Google pumpkin pie spice, homemade pumpkin pie spice, and you should be able to figure it out. So here goes a teaspoon of that. Also a teaspoon of cinnamon. This is easy because it's all a teaspoon, so easy to remember. A teaspoon of the ground cinnamon. And then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And once that goes in, I'm just going to continue beating this until all of the spices have been incorporated fully. Okay, so now over to this side. Once you have your filling mixed up and ready to go in a bowl, you're ready to pop open the can of crescent rolls. What you're going to want to have ready is a parchment paper lined cookie sheet, like so, and your oven preheated to 350 degrees. Then, what you're going to want to do is spread the crescent rolls out on the pan, just like I have them here, but you're not going to rip them apart like normal crescent rolls. We're going to do something a little different. As you can see though, there's holes in the crescent rolls, so what you're going to want to do is make sure that all of these holes are sealed before we go to the next step, because otherwise the filling is going to run all over the place, and that's not what we're looking for. So just take your fingers, lightly press together the openings. Okay, and then you're just going to want to spread them out a little bit so they're even, make sure there's no more rolls going on. Oh, and some of the holes open up again when you do that, so just double check before the next step that all of the little openings are sealed. Okay, so that looks good. All laid out and ready to go. Now what you're going to want to do is get a sharp knife. And we're going to be cutting these into 6 squares. So you're going to want to kind of mark like so. And so you're going to get 6. And then once you mark, you can go ahead and put some pressure down and cut these into 6 squares. And again, if they start popping open at the seams, you're gonna just push them together, not a big deal. It's important to have a sharp knife for this, like I said, because you need to cut all the way through so that it's easy to tear them apart. So, now that that's done, what you're gonna do is pick up one of them, just move them over. You're gonna wanna make room for all of these. And the parchment paper makes it super easy to work on because this dough is sticky. And with this, it makes it a little bit easier to work with, so. Because these are definitely not a hard recipe to make, so. And cleanup's a lot easier with parchment paper too. You don't even have to wash the pan, no one will know. So I'm just gonna finish spreading these out and then I'll catch you back here for the next step. So here's the pumpkin pie pockets. They're all filled, about 2 tablespoons to 3 tablespoons of filling per pocket. And now you're gonna be putting them in the oven at 350 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes or until the edge. So while your pumpkin pie pockets are baking, you may be wondering, well, what the heck? Why do I still have half a bowl of the pumpkin cream cheese filling? Well, you have 3 options of what to do with this filling, and the first option, the one that I highly recommend, is buying a pre-made graham cracker pie crust or using your own graham cracker crust recipe. Simply pouring this filling into the crust, baking on 350 for 30 to 35 minutes or until set. Take out, let it cool, add a few dollops of whipped cream, and there you go. You have an extra pie on hand in case you have some holiday guests popping in and out, or in case the pumpkin pie pockets go fast, which is highly likely to happen. So the second option you can do with your leftover filling is buying 2 more cans of crescent rolls, which they're super cheap, and making 18 pumpkin pie pockets instead of just the 6. So if you wanna, you have a lot of people coming over, you wanna make more, that's an option. The third option is not being left with any filling, which, how do you do that? You're gonna take the original recipe that makes the extra filling. You're gonna have all the ingredients except for the pumpkin and the crescent rolls. So you're gonna use a 1/4 cup granulated sugar, 4 ounces of cream cheese, 1 egg. You're still going to use the 1/4 cup pumpkin. You're going to use half a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, and half a teaspoon of vanilla. And that will give you about just enough to fill the 6 crescent rolls out of 1 canister. Alright, so the pumpkin pie pockets have just come out of the oven. I took a half a cup of powdered sugar and about 3 tablespoons of 1% milk to make a glaze. And then once I glazed it over with a fork, so you get that pretty, fancy drizzle, I sprinkled a little bit of cinnamon on top too. So take a look. The kitchen smells delicious, which is to be expected. It's like a French, pastry, but it has the croissant, the flaky, the easy way of making a pastry. You're not going to be in the kitchen all day. Now over here, I have one that I already tried, and I just wanted to give you a peek inside here. So, there it is, and then you're going to take it inside. You have the pumpkin pie filling, you have the glaze, you have the cinnamon, the pumpkin pie spice, the flaky, crescent crust that you're used to having from these, but instead of with a savory meal like with spaghetti or something, you're gonna have it with a sweet dessert. And if you've never tried a crescent as a sweet kind of treat before, I highly recommend it, and this recipe would probably be a good place to start. Thanks, guys.